Well, this is very much an anticipated couple of races coming your way. Improved production up at Mount Panorama and a massive crowd enjoying the sunshine. I've got Gary Manell alongside me in commentary. And Gary, improved production at the home of Australian motorsport.
It certainly is, and it's fantastic to be back here. This is the 7th year this category's been running here as a support of the 12-hour. Fantastic to see guys from all over Australia here this weekend represented in improved production, and you will see a lot of different cars out there.
A lot is the definite key word. Hislop grabbed pole by a whopping 4 seconds. He was turning laps in the 225s. Kyle Organ will start alongside him in the front row. Over 50 cars will make up this grid, Gary.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we've got a great support here this weekend, and there's going to be plenty of action coming up in these two races.
So they might be essentially production-based cars, but we do have these things, I guess you could say hotted up would be the key word.
Yeah, absolutely. They must be production car-based vehicles, but they can put any sort of engine in there as long as it's a Holden in a Holden or a Ford in a Ford or whatever it might be. Gearboxes are free, diffs are free, lots of things are free in this category. That's why they go really, really fast around a track like Mount Panorama.
Look at that, 54 entries on the grid. You're riding on board with Andrew McMaster as everyone's ready for a start. Hislop alongside on the front row with Kyle Organ-Moore, and away we go. Good start.
Yeah, it was. Look at Lee Forrest there back in third spot in the little yellow Toyota. He's got a good start. Looks like Justin Wade also good clean start as they get round that first corner. Nice clean run up the hill. This is going to be good. But look at Ray Hislop. He has put the pedal to the metal and he's off. Whoa, in amongst the action here.
So you've got Hislop, who's very tight work. Hislop, who's pretty much already up at turn 2, and the rest of the field still filing the way around turn 1. Kind of like the good old days of the great race, and geez, very tight up the inside, and everyone trying to find a few more spots as the Magna inside the top 5 tries to pick up one more spot.
Yeah, that was John Woodbury coming in there, probably a little bit hot. He's actually lost out there. Justin Wade's gathered up, and look at Graham Watts right up the inside. He's also trying to push his way through. There's a lot of fast cars here, and they want to get out in front and have a go.
So it was Lee Forrest in the Celica who got a good jump and managed to pick up 1 or 2 spots at the beginning. Here's a replay of the start, and Brett Batterby pulling over.
Yeah, look, that's not good for Brett. He's come all the way down from Queensland this weekend, and he's in all sorts of strifes, pulling over to the side because we see the field going up through the top of the mountain here, and looks like we're on board with Andrew McMaster, one of the local guys from New South Wales, doing really well in his little BMW.
So for the first time, we climb the mountain. Keysdale Haas was closing the gap, trying to pick up 1 or 2 more spots inside the top 10 as we descend now through Skyline and towards the Dipper.
Yeah, we see there's John Woodbury, followed by Graham Watts. And it looks like, who's that in the background? That's Macca, is his nickname in the BMW. That's an E30. And right behind him is Keys Dalhouse in a thumping V8. So I think Keys is going to put his pedal to the metal as he comes down onto Conrod Straight.
There's nothing like Conrod Straight to sort the boys out from the end when it comes to pure horsepower. Riding on board with Matt Cherry as he picks up a few gears and a few spots in doing so.
Talking about horsepower, this car is one to watch. Didn't have a good qualifying session here as he pulls right up behind the BMW. But look, Matt Cherry, he will be a man on a mission and one to watch.
That's what I love about this class. You want to pick up a few spots down Conrod, but you've got to be watching the mirrors to see if anyone's going to come flying up from behind you. Hislop's got a handy lead, but this is the battle for second. Organ-Moore and Lee Forrest.
Yeah, Lee Forrest just pulling away there. Kyle Organ-Moore, looks like he's actually got a bit of a problem. He's slowing up even more. Justin Wade looks like he's going to round him up, coming onto pit straight. Yeah, look at this, Kyle Organ-Moore pulling over. So within the first lap, we've all got cars parked up on the side. This is going to be interesting whether the car will be able to make it through there or they'll have to pull out a safety car.
So disappointing that he missed the pit entry for himself, and the fact that he started on the front row and unfortunately is out at the end of the first lap. Good run onto Mountain Straight for Graham Watts. He pulls over to the side and takes that position away from Woodbury.
Yeah, look at this behind him. Here we go, Matt Cherry. He's trying to push his way through. Keysdale House, another V8. This is just amazing stuff. Great in-car footage here from Matt Cherry's car.
It's amazing watching these guys push through the field when they do get a bit of straight line running in the big V8s and how quickly they do climb the mountain.
Yeah, Matt Cherry, one of the guys come over from Western Australia. They brought them over here. Matt's been here before with this car last year. Had a really bad luck. Got a puncher on the last lap.
And contact in the cutting. He gets into the side of the Nissan, and Watts manages to keep it pointing in the right direction, but That was a heavy hit to the left-hand door.
Yeah, not good. Look, I don't think Graham saw him coming up the inside. I suppose he thought Graham had the run there, and Matt said, no, I don't. I'm coming up the inside. Look out, here I come. But look, they're still both going. Looks like the cars are in one piece, and we'll see what happens a little bit later on. But look at Matt Cherry going sideways across the top. That's fantastic.
Matt Cherry taking no prisoners on his way to the top 5. Keep in mind, he started back in 27th position, and in the space of 1.5 laps, he's already found his way up inside the top 5. Amazing drive.
Keys Dalhouse, local guy from Wollongong, he's doing really well. Hasn't done a lot of racing lately, but great to see him at the mountain today. Robert Bourne in the BMW, another BMW, then an RX-8 Mazda. Talk about variety.
And once again, we'll make the turn through Forest Elbow and onto the front straight, and there is the stranded Kyle Organ-Moore Commodore. And that could bring out a safety car. Localised yellows at the moment. Let's check out this replay of Cherry going up the inside, and whack.
Look, I tell you, line ball decision there. I don't know whether... I don't think Graham saw him, to be quite honest, and I think Matt maybe was being a little bit cheeky, thought there was a gap there. Obviously, it closed.
It was a great save in the end by Watts to keep that thing pointed in the right direction, not where you want to be facing on a 90-degree angle to traffic, a blind corner like the cutting.
As we see them come down into the final corner here, Matt Cherry, Keysdale House tucked in behind, John Woodbury. That's Robert Bourne in the white BMW from Victoria. That E30 is an absolute rocket ship for him. He's done a lot of work on that car and doing really well in the local state championship down in Victoria. Graham Watts still going. Looks like he's hasn't had too much damage or anything done to the steering in that contact with Matt Cherry earlier.
BMWs do have a great history of running around the mountain. Even Peter Brock has driven a Beamer around this track.
Same model too, actually. It was an E30, but these cars, we must mention, these cars are all on the same tyre. It's a Yokohama controlled tyre, which means that if you've got a lot of horsepower, you've got to be diligent of how much power you can put down onto the road with a controlled tyre. Everyone's on the same tyre, so it makes a little bit more level playing field, certainly does.
There goes the Monaro and picks up another spot. This time he's got Justin Wade in his mirrors, and that was just using the torque and power of the big V8 climbing up towards the cutting. Further back, here's Scott Hunter on approach to turn 2 at the end of Mountain Straight.
Now Scott Hunter, he's the first of the under 2 leaders. We've got a bunch of under 2 as he gives one of the cars, looks like the Commodore of, he's lost a lot of bit of momentum there. Not happy at all, Scott.
Hopefully that hasn't damaged the radiator too. It was a fairly large hit right in the middle of the corner. He got into the back of the Commodore and lost all that momentum running up the hill. Cherry with a little bit of a moment over Skyline. The back of the Monaro steps out. Good save.
Yeah, Matt's absolutely on the ragged edge there. Like I said, obviously his tyres getting hot very, very quickly with all that sliding and whatnot. He needs to be very careful that this race is a 10-lap race. He's a long way to go yet.
Considering the sheer size of Mount Panorama, there's a long way to go before this one's over. Hislop is your leader, and he's opened up a massive lead ahead of the rest of the guys at the moment. Remember, Kyle Organ-Moore unfortunately pulling out at the end of the first lap.
And now we see this is Keys Dalhouse putting his horsepower to good use with the V8 powered BMW, just not being able to keep in touch there as he goes in. Nice pass by Keys.
V8's pretty much filling the top spots at the moment, apart from the Celica of Lee Forest.
Yeah, and that car of Lee Forest, been around for an awful long time. Guys, people would remember that car from about 10 or 15 years ago. He's done a number of events up here in Bathurst, done just about every IPRA Nationals in that car, and still going very strong and very fast.
So Hislop ticks off another one. He's already up towards the cutting and starting to climb on another lap, and the BMW tucks in to try and close this gap. Justin Wade starting to lose touch with the guys ahead of him. Oh, it's Hislop. Hislop's in the fence. There's a wheel off. It's rolling into the inside of the fence. He had a massive lead. What has gone wrong? Look at that. It's ripped the inside of the wheel clean out of the rim, and your race leader is stranded at the cutting.
Well, look at this. Isn't this a turn up for books? Something has gone wrong here. Let's have a look now.
On approach towards the cutting, he's out a little bit wide, and maybe he's just lost the rear end, crunched the wall, And it didn't look like that heavy a hit, but enough to go doing that kind of damage to a wheel is definitely a big hit.
Yeah, and that's actually, I think that's the front wheel that we actually see roll down behind the car. So obviously, as it's impacted there, it is. Yeah, that was. That's the front wheel. Look at that, completely torn the centre out of it.
And he'd just broken his own lap record as well, turning 2:21s. He was a good 3 or 4 seconds quicker than what he was in qualifying, and this will give the lead to the Celica, and the safety car is out.
So we're 3 laps into this race. Safety car, here we see, they're going to pick up the field here, and this is going to take a little bit of time to clean up, and when we come back, there's going to be a lot of action.
This is fantastic news for Matt Cherry, who started 27th, has been ripping through the field, and at the moment, he's going to close the field up behind the safety car. So the safety car is out at the front of the field, and the Tasmanian of Lee Forest has inherited the lead from another Tasmanian.
Yeah, that's right. So look, it's unfortunate. Ray Hislop just got a little bit sideways there going into the corner.
Okay, we'll drop the green flag very shortly. A quick break. Resumption of this one's coming up soon. Welcome back to Mount Panorama. This is race 1 for the improved production cars. Over 50 cars have taken the start, and the race leader has just crashed out. That's why we're behind safety car, and that safety car is going to come in on this lap.
Yeah, look, unfortunate for Ray Hislop, just didn't get it quite right going into the cutting, and has paid the penalty. But Lee Forest, look at this. Lee Forest being chased already by Matt Cherry from Western Australia.
So it's a West Aussie versus a Tasmanian. The Tasmanian leads us to the green flag. He's driven his way from 27th in the field to be 2nd right now, and further back, a good battle going on.
The first 7 cars, and we've got one going a little bit sideways. The first 7 cars are all from a different state. Fantastic to see a great field of cars here this weekend.
This is where Cherry opens up. Big V8 over the top of the crest towards turn 2. The Celica goes on the defensive up the inside. The turbo just starts to run out of puff at the end of Mountain Straight, but he holds onto the lead and just slightly slides the back of the Celica out of turn 2.
A little bit of deja vu here. 12 months ago, these 2 cars were doing exactly the same thing, fighting for the lead of the race. So it'll be interesting. A lot of respect by these 2 guys. How's that? Picking up the inside wheel coming into the gutting, out of the gutting.
That was special stuff. He knows that if he's going to win this race, he needs to get it done on top of the mountain. That's why he's pushing as hard as he is right now. Epic drive from Lee Forest.
Absolutely. And look at Matt Cherry. He is absolutely driving the wheels off this car. Great vision both from inside and outside the car. You can see how hard he is working the wheel. This is not easy. This is not an easy car. It's a lot of hard work to get it round a track like Mount Panorama.
He's got the slightly lighter Celica, but it's not as quick in a straight line. He knows that. That's why he's desperate to open up a gap before he gets to Conrod. On the brakes, you take the slow right-hander on approach to Forest Elbow, and that gap is not big enough. You'd think this time, surely, that Matt Cherry's going to take the lead of the race. Although, great exit out of the chase for Forest. He moves over to the left-hand side. Drag race down Conrod.
This is what we came to see, folks. This is absolutely exciting.
Just give him a slight wave on the way through.
Oh, well, they're all friends, mate. They're all friends.
He was never going to hold on to that lead, was he? The hard-charging Matt Cherry from WA has made his way from 27th on the grid to lead race 1 of the improved production car race here at Mount Panorama. Incredible drive.
And we've still got 2 laps to go, so anything could happen, as we saw earlier on. And look, they've actually opened up quite a gap. It looks like that's Keys Dalhouse from New South Wales. He's 3rd. And I think it's Justin Wade from Queensland still holding down 4th, but he's getting pushed pretty hard by one of the BMWs, I think it is.
Yeah, the Datsun 1600 of Michael Nagyev is also really rampaging through the field. We'll see how much further he can push up. He started back in 26th. So the boys that were further back on rows 13 and 14 have come rampaging through the field.
Yeah, look, they had a real had issues in the qualifying session, as we see now.
Oops,
whose car's that?
That's Grimwood in the number 8 Chevy badged Holden.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. He looks like he's stuck going up Mountain Straight. As I was saying, the qualifying session, they had 2 red flags. They had to restart at both times, and a lot of the fast cars didn't get down a chance to do a really fast lap, and that's why they're a little bit back in the pack, Matt Cherry being one of them.
So bad luck for Jason Grimmond and the Grimmo's Garage VY Commodore. Here are your leaders once again. The run from the cutting, and this is where we saw the little Salika put on a show last lap.
Inboard here with Scott Hunter having another go up the inside. This time hopefully he won't be running into the back of another car, because he doesn't want to damage the radiator and get this car overheating. It's fantastic to see as we see another Commodore car. What's that, 140? Another Commodore pulling in to the back going up Mountain Straight.
Queenslander David Clift.
Oh, that's a shame for David. Him and his brother Daniel are here this weekend, coming down to for their first go at Mount Panorama.
Down through the dipper we go. And Forrest is closing the gap, but unfortunately the big bad Conrod Straight is only around the corner, quite literally.
Yeah, look, the Toyota's fast across the top, but down the straight you can't substitute anything for horsepower, and here it is. Matt Cherry's just going to pull away. He'll gap probably another 30 or 40 metres, if not more, as they go into the chase. But Lee Forrest, knowing Lee, he will not give up.
There's no replacement for displacement, they say, at Mount Panorama. 6 litres of Holden power versus 3.4 litres of Toyota power. Here comes the little Datsun.
Yeah, that's Graham Watts in New South Wales, and he's getting harassed big time as they go down Conrod. We'll see who's brave enough. No, he's got to pull in behind the Nissan as they go into the chase.
So 2 of the Nissan runners, I suppose you could say, one way or another, albeit a Datsun in this case. And Nagyub is just going to bide his time on this one. He's passed a lot of cars to get to where he is.
Yeah, fantastic job. Another guy from South Australia, does very well. Yep, look at this, up the inside, nice and clean. Yeah.
And Watts knows what it's like now to be punted in the left-hand door, so he was wise to just check his mirrors twice then.
Yeah, look, Graham Watts must have missed a gear or something there. Just didn't get caught out, because Robert Bourne has now gone past him as well. But Graham's coming back up the inside.
Just lost all his momentum, didn't he, at the last second when he saw the Datsun. Oh, out across the dirt. And the Beamer keeps it pointed in the right direction. They're just in front of the Magna and the BMW. There's not a sentence that you say all too often in the motoring world.
But don't laugh. That Magna's very fast, trust me.
Here are your leaders, and the lead is opening up now for your race leader, Matt Cherry, ahead of Lee Forrest. Final lap and the final time through the cutting. That's where our ex-race leader, Ray Hislop, ended in the fence.
Matt just giving the brakes a little tap as he goes into the corner here, as we pick up some of the back markers.
Simon Village, and this is on approach down towards the chase.
Yeah, doing fantastic job. He's come all the way down from the Northern Territory. All Talk is their sponsor up in the Northern Territory. Great to see him and a couple of others from the Northern Territory come down.
Gotta love the variety within improved production, and just seeing where these cars are faster than each other as well. Some quick across the top of the mountain, some quick climbing up towards the cutting, and others using their brute power like this car has, up Mountain Straight and down Conrod, to pass as many cars as he had.
Yeah, nice and smooth. See how he's actually settled the car down now? He's not sliding it, because he's got to look after his tyres, because there's another race coming up a little bit later on, and he needs to be in, still have plenty of tyre to attack that race. But just taking it nice and easy. Lee Forrest obviously still thinking, oh, anything could happen here.
Lee Forrest, he started third, and he's going to bring it home for what would be a podium position. Local yellows, because we do have a car pulled over on the left-hand side at the chase, and that's never a nice spot to be sitting, but the officials wanted to get this race done without needing another safety car, so that's commendable. One corner left for the West Aussie, who has passed just about everyone who's shown up. He passed half the field, and that's impressive considering we had over 50 cars in this race. Final corner, Matt Cherry from 27th to 1st. A memorable drive to win race 1 of improved production here at Mount Panorama.
Lee Forrest will bring his car back in second spot, and it looks like Keys Dalhouse holding on for third. Great drive by Keys Dalhouse. Fantastic to see him come across the line there.
So it's going to be Monaro from Salika and Commodore, so A couple of Holdens will make the top 5. The Magna eventually makes it home inside the top 10. Great effort from Woodbury. The Mitsubitsu Magna will end up in 7th. And just look at the variety inside the top 10. You've got Monaro, Celica, Commodore, Datsun 1600, a Sylvia, a BMW, and a Mitsubishi Magna. And it's still going on at the last corner.
Yeah, that's Mark Jewell in the Tirana, SS Tirana, having a little bit of fun on the last corner, making it a little bit more exciting. But he still finished 13th, which is great to see.
It's not a bad effort considering how to spin down at Murray's to finish off the race. That was very entertaining. And just looking through that variety, Monaro, Celica, Commodore, a Datto 1600, a Sylvia, an E30 Beamer, and a Magna, all making it inside the top 10. There's confirmation of those results. Congratulations to Matt Cherry and also Lee Forrest on doing everything that he could to hang on to the lead of that race.
Yeah, fantastic to see. Brian Anderson 12th, Jewell in 13th, Tony Alford from Donut King. Good to see him up there, and a big field of cars through there. As we see, we pick up Scott Hunter 22nd in the first of the under 2 litres. Fantastic to see.
Thanks to Donut King for bringing us coverage of the improved production cars at Mount Panorama. The second race is gritting up. If it's half as good as the first one, we'll be in for a beauty of an afternoon, because that was a pretty epic race and there is not a single bad vantage point. Although I reckon up in the hotel's probably the best spot, Gary.
There's no bad spots around Mount Panorama to watch motor racing, I can assure you of that. As we see Cherry come up into his rightful position as pole, alongside is Lee Forrest, Dalhouse is 3rd, Nagube is 4th, Watts, Bourne, Woodbury, Wade, Molino, McMaster and Muir rounding up the top 10 or 11 cars.
Further back we go, there's Tony Alford, who's out there repping it for Donut King. Mark Jewell, who was a little spectacular towards the end of that last race. The Stillwells, father and son duo, out of Victoria down there. And the bad news is, unfortunately, Ray Hislop, who was meant to start this race in 47th, as you'll probably see on the grid in a sec, unfortunately has not made his way out on the racetrack.
Yeah, unfortunate. It looks like he just couldn't start the car in the dummy grid area, and you can't push start it. It's got to start under its own means. So unfortunately, Ray Hislop not having a good weekend at all.
There are still some fast cars towards the back to watch out for, as there always is. It's a drag race towards turn 1. Hell corner between the Monaro and the Celica. Cherry takes the lead. The Datsun of Nagib was just firing his way up into 3rd and might actually get a pretty good run on the Celica out of turn 1.
Absolutely fantastic to see a Datsun 1600 beating a Commodore.
Oops, and
oh, here we go.
Oh, everyone on the brakes. There's a problem. There's a car out in the fence on the right, and there's a pair of BMWs. Shades of 1985, and the Beamer's stuck with Jim Richards in that very sand trap.
It looked like that was Scott Dean also involved in the little Toyota. Interesting to see what happened there. Let's see if we get pick it up in the replay and see if we can see what actually happened.
Well, meanwhile, we're still green at the moment, at least, towards the cutting. And it's still at the front of the field like we'd expect. Matt Cherry, who's going to lead us up towards Reed Park, followed by Lee Forrest.
Look at Michael working that little Datsun 1600. He's a man on the mission. He's decided he wants to stick with Matt and Lee in the cars as we see the damage here at turn 1. This is not good for Michael Stilwell.
No, and I thought there was a bit of a gentleman's agreement with the Victorian BMW drivers that we don't run into each other.
Obviously, these guys didn't read the fine print.
I reckon it was probably unavoidable. Let's have a look at the replay. Oh, the Toyota was caught up in it. Gee, heavy damage to just about every corner on Stillwell's Beamer.
Yeah, not sure what actually happened there. We didn't actually see the very start of it. Let's see if we can pick it up again. A lot of things going on in the background. Someone gets pushed. Oh, look, they're going sideways there. The Toyota, innocent bystander there. Something happened with car 27 getting pushed into Michael, but looks like we've certainly got 2 BMWs that aren't going to take any more part of this race.
Yeah, bad news for Brian Burke, who's taking his gloves off right now. And that has brought out the safety car by the looks of things at the moment. Oh, no, not another one.
Yeah, looks as another one limping around the track. But I was just going to say, Michael Stilwell, his son is also driving in another BMW, another E30, the orange car that he's actually borrowed from a guy in Victoria, from Canberra. And, that's not looking too good for this car either. As he's
it's dropping bits behind it. This is Brad Rodwell. Not a great day to be a BMW fan on the mountain. We've got 3 wiped out in the first lap.
And I tell you, the officials will not start the race until they pick up the debris that car's left up the top of the mountain.
So that's unfortunate. The cars are being paced behind the safety car at the moment. We'll pick up the restart of this one on the other side of this short commercial break. Race 2 of improved production, a field of over 50 cars taking on Mount Panorama. Safety car is coming back in on this lap. Time to get it going. Matt Cherry will lead us to the green flag after a nasty crash on lap 1 between a pair of BMWs, but the track is good and ready. Time to drop the hammer once again, Gary.
Yeah, look at this great sight to see all these improved production cars. Matt Cherry, obviously, he's dictating the speed of the pack now as he comes across the line, and he's off.
Have a look at Michael Nagyub. He has been nagging the back of Forrest Salika for the little bit of the green flag running that we've had. And this time he just pulls in behind him, but letting him know that he's definitely there and ready to fight.
Yeah, fantastic to see Michael doing a great job in the Datsun 1600.
He's Scott Hunter, and he's trying to get a run up the outside of Muir and actually timed that quite nicely. He's got the shift light just sitting up on top of the dash, letting him know when it's time to pluck another gear. And up towards the mountain we go.
Just back behind Keys is, I think that's Damien Molino from Victoria in the Commodore. He's actually made quite a few spots up here and doing very well, and he's actually getting right behind
back of Dowhouse now. So
yes,
that's a good drive from Milano. He's picked up a few spots at the start of this race before the safety car came out, and that was telling to get himself up inside the top 5.
Fantastic to have the support of Donut King here again this year. This is the 3rd year in a row that Donut King have been involved in sponsoring the improved production up here at Mount Panorama, and it's great to see people like Tony Alford actually getting out there and having a race. As we see car 14 here, I think that's
the other one of the Tiranas. It's Savage.
Yep, Bill Savage having all sorts of dramas there, going behind the pits, so no more racing for him this weekend.
Roaring through the S's once more, and on approach to Forest Elbow is Lee Forrest in the Salika. The turbo will wind up. Got a V8 being chased by a 3.4 litre car and then a 1600.
Yeah, fantastic. The 1600 Datsun 1600 is also turbocharged, and then we've got another V8 behind him. So great mix-up of cars here in the field today.
And you can notice it with your ears and with your eyes with these things as they whiz past down Conrod and through the chase. Fastest part of just about anywhere in Australian motorsport, on the brakes hard.
These cars, they're allowed to upgrade their brakes and their gearboxes. Like I said earlier, the engines must be from a Datsun or a Nissan or a Holden or a Ford. But other than that, they can do a lot, and that's why we call them improved production cars, because there are a lot of improvements. Going sideways is the best way to go and get some attention.
It's definitely getting attention. I guess SR20 motors would be a good choice for anyone looking to hot up a Datsun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you'll find those SR20s are in a lot of cars these days.
Further back, and we saw what happened to his father, and now we're right on board with Dave Stillwell. What a good battle going on ahead of him.
Yeah, David, like I said, he's borrowed this car for the weekend. He's already had a little bit of an incident in the race 1 earlier today, and he's trying to make his way back through the field, because obviously starting back at the rear of the field.
David has a big involvement with Team Medical Australia, the irony of which his fellow Team Medical Australia workers were helping his dad get out of the car only a few laps ago. Thankfully everyone was okay on that occasion.
We see Dean Scott's little Toyota there, Yaris, didn't get very far after the accident. It's parked on the side of the hill going up Mountain Straight on the right-hand side. Unfortunate for him.
The approach to McPhillamy is always a fast and sideways one, and Matt Cherry is on the absolute limit. He actually backed off and thought, hang on a minute, I don't need to go fencing the Monaro right now. He had a bit of a moment as he got a little bit too much at the entry curve.
Really giving these Yokohamas a workout today, Matt Cherry. The tyre we use is an AO50 control tyre. It's a semi-slick, so it's a slick tyre, but it does have a few grooves in it, but it's purpose-built just to do motor racing, and fantastic to have Yokohama supporting improved production all around Australia. It's really great to have them on board as well.
6 litres of muscle screaming past on its way down Conrod. Let's go back and find Andrew McMaster in the Beers R Us car, who's also on his way down towards Forest Elbow, and this has been a pretty handy drive from the BMW.
Yeah, great to see Macca, as he likes to be known. He's one of the guys who's on a very small budget and does a fantastic job with what he's got.
I also appreciated the Beers R Us tap that he's got worked into the glove box, something that more cars probably need to have, as Cherry comes down to tick off the halfway point of this race to improve production.
Fantastic. Like I say, Matt, I think he is actually taking it easy, even though he is still going very, very fast. Fantastic to see a great job, well-prepared car. Matt, we should mention, is racing in the 12-hour race tomorrow, along with Ray Hislop and a couple of other guys who are in this field today. They're doing double duties this weekend.
Be a tired boy come Monday if that's the case, and I suppose Monaro have a pretty celebrated history here, albeit not quite so much in the great race as much as the Grade 2 race, the 24-hour, the big 427 Monaro. Gary Rogers Motorsport prepared, and good to see a couple of Valvoline stickers on this Monaro as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Monaro did very well back in the early 2000 era when we had the 2 or 3 24-hour races, and like you say, yeah, did very well back then.
Still he chips away in his Celica, and if he's looked after his tyres enough, he might be able to close the gap. With 4 laps to go, it's a long, long way left in this race. I love that shot as he just hoiks the left front.
Yeah, just the suspension travel obviously reaches its limit, and the wheel just lifts the ground. Looks really good, very smooth. Like I said earlier, this guy's been around for a long, long time and raced this car in slightly different configurations, but for the last few years had a really good run with the setup he's got here, and doing very, very well here. Great to see a car of this generation still going very strong around Mount Panorama.
Looks like it's set up quite nicely as well. Beautifully balanced as it lifts the left front. We expect to do it here as well, wouldn't you? Down through the dipper, it does so just on approach. Oh, big dust cloud at McPhillamy. Not the kind of place you want to go running off at all. I've seen some nasty accidents there over the years.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's one of the fastest corners, and to come around there and see that dust cloud does get your heart pumping, but we'll find out who it is. Not sure who was involved there, but as we see Mac come down through the S's, down into the famous dipper, fantastic, and hasn't spilled a drop of that beer yet.
I love the way he moves his hands around on the steering wheel. A bit unconventional. Most people like to have them planted, the 10 and 2 position, but he's actually moving them around a little bit as he takes the corners. There's a Ford Focus. Yeah, chased.
Yeah, that's Paul Redman being chased by Simon Boulash from the Northern Territory. Great to see a little Mark 1 Escort. They were fantastic, very, very popular back in their day in motorsport, both in rallying and on circuit.
I was going to say, a couple of cars here with great rally pedigree. Originally, that's what the Ford Focus came in to do when the likes of Colin McRae and co were racing these at Rally Australia and all around the world in the WRC. And for something completely different, a Mercedes-Benz as well.
Lloyd from Victoria, he's come up here for this, about his 3rd try at it. He hasn't had a good run, but looks like he's going to be lapped by the leader. Coming up behind him very, very fast is Matt Cherry. Look at this.
It's like watching a great white shark come up behind a wounded seal, and he just gobbles him up down at the bottom of Mountain Straight. This thing is flying this weekend. He's in a world of his own. Would have been cool to see him and Hislop go toe-to-toe. Oh, we've got a problem down at Murray's.
Yeah, someone's gone off at the end of Conroy Straight. It's the Tirana of...
Now, this will be the same guy, unfortunately, that parked or nearly parked it in the end of the first race. And that'll be Jewel.
Yeah, Mark Jewel, that is. And that car looks like it's going to be stuck there for a little while, so there could be another safety car here. Let's see. Yes, look at this. Yellow flag, safety boards are out. They can't leave that car there. He's obviously tried to get it out, and yeah, there he is. He's bearing it down to the axles. Yeah,
even further. So Mark Jewell, who finished 13th in race 1, has that thing buried up to the drop tank, which is what makes these SS Tiranas so bad. I love them. All right, let's take you back while we've got the safety car out and find out what happened. And, oh, my goodness, on top of McPhillamy, Dalhouse having a huge tank slapper.
Yeah, Keys, that's not a place to be going sideways, and Keys would have had a big moment there. He was in 5th spot, so unfortunate for Keys. He would have lost 2 or 3 spots there, cars going past him.
And around the corner at the Forest Elbow, let's see what's happening here. Oh, hard and into the tyres in a big way.
That's Graham Muir understeering into Forest Elbow there.
Oh, I think Forest needs to try and close up that gap onto the back of Cherry before the green flag comes out here. He's giving him a fair bit of breathing room at the moment. Maybe he's just trying to keep the Celica cool right now, as well, as it is a turbo car. But he's given him already 3 car lengths at the start. And Michael Nagy wasn't being quite so accommodating, was he? He's already looking up the inside, but he's almost ruined his run a little bit. This will open up the door for Damien Milano. Can't quite make it stick there. 2 laps to go. Green flag racing back underway. Keys Dalhouse also looking up the inside of the Nissan. Couldn't get it done. He'll move over to the left-hand side. Up Mountain Straight. Exciting stuff. Improved production on the restart. Here comes Milano.
Yeah, absolutely. The horsepower showing its true colours there.
Just swallowed the Datsun up.
It did, actually. And behind him, Keys Dalhouse has also got a spot on Graham Watts. So V8 power ruling at this part of the track today.
So the Holdens have gained an advantage big time from the restart. That safety car was nice for them. And as a result, Datsun drops back. But this is a chance to maybe get it back. The lighter little Datto looks to the inside at the cutting. Milano gives him some room. And the Datsun lights up the rears on the exit.
Yeah, he lost out on that. Had to keep it nice and tight there and went all sideways. Talk about sideways. These 2 at the front, they're not giving anything away. Anything could happen here.
Now, this is a chance now for Forest to close the gap. Toyota Corolla 4AGE powered car has pulled over to the right-hand side.
Yeah, Scott Hunter, the under 2 litre, leading the class in under 2 litre. Looks like he's getting out of the car.
If you can break a 4AGE motor, you've done well. Very, very durable. Meanwhile, the battle at the front, speaking of Toyotas, is a good one.
Yeah, great to see this fight here, and a lot of respect. These guys, like I say, have been racing a lot with each other. They raced at the Nationals late last year at Wakefield Park, the IPRA Nationals, and Matt Cherry actually had his other car. He's got a little Toyota Starlet that he raced at Wakefield Park. Yeah, but obviously he's brought out the V8 muscle power Monaro this weekend for going around Bathurst.
And it looks like this is going to be the final lap and the final time through the chase. So Matt Cherry has got the job done, and still Lee Forrest is pushing hard. The Tasmanian and the Celica taking a fair bit of the curb through the chase. But final corner for the Monaro. He's going to go 2 from 2. He had to keep his cool and fight off the Celica on the restart. He's sideways in the last corner, and he might just throw this away. I was giving him the big spiel to the finish line. He'll just hold on. Oh, my goodness. He nearly chucked it in the sand. Maybe driving in the mirrors on approach and nearly throws it away on old tyres. Where did that come from?
Not sure what happened there. Matt just cooked it as we went in. I think he was trying to actually do the old
celebration, mate.
Absolutely, got it horribly wrong.
Oh, that was close. In the end, the margin of victory is just 0.06 of a second. Are you kidding me? Well, that was a bit more exciting than I think anyone was expecting at the very, very finish, Gary. I think we need to have another look at this. Don't tell me this was an early celebration gone wrong.
Nah, look, I think he did actually just lose the back end. And then what's actually happened is he's missed the gear. And this is where Lee's gone, mate, this is mine. I'm on here.
His eyes have lit up at the exit of the final corner. He's gassed the big turbo Celica up, and he's fallen about less than a quarter of a car length short. Amazing finish to that race. And there is confirmation, just 0.06, but great drive from Damien Milano to get third.
Yeah, certainly was. Cherry to take out the #1 spot. Fantastic to see, but like you say, nearly missed out.
Spectacular race. Gary, thanks for your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been great to be here today, and great to see a big field of cars and doing really well. Yeah, thank you.
It definitely did go off. Thank you very much, Gary, on a weekend that saw Ray Hislop get pole position by over 4 seconds, break the lap record, and throw it in the fence. to pick up the pieces. A fellow V8 driver, Matt Cherry, taking 2 race wins on the mountain. Over 50 cars racing in improved production, putting on a fantastic show. Cannot wait to see them back on Mount Panorama in 2016. We'll see you there.
How's that? Oh, picking up the inside wheel.
Oh my goodness, on top of McPhillamy, Dalehouse having a huge tank slapper. He's sideways in the last corner, and he might just throw this away.
There's more to come after the break as the drivers from the SRO GT World Challenge prepare to take on South Africa's Kyalami circuit in the final round of the SRO Esport GT Series.